All right, so welcome to lesson 2, Python syntax. In this lesson, we will look at the definition of Python syntax, explain why syntax is important, write valid Python statements, understand Python indentation, follow Python naming conventions, recognize syntax errors, and write readable Python code. Now, what is Python syntax? Syntax is a set of rules that determines how a programming language must be written. Just as English has grammar rules, Python has syntax rules. If you break these rules, Python cannot understand your instructions and will produce an error. So for example, in English, we write, I am learning Python. It is incorrect in English to write learning Python high. Okay. Similarly, in Python programming, the right way to print an information on the screen is to write print, open parentheses, open quotation mark, hello, comma, word, exclamation mark, close your quotation mark, and close your parentheses. So this is the right way to print this information on the screen. It is incorrect to say print without the open and close parentheses. So let's give it a try. So if I say print, okay, open parentheses, open and close quotation mark, and I can put hello world. Okay. Now, if I run this, okay. So it has printed hello world. This is the right syntax. However, if I take up this quotation mark, open parenthesis and close parentheses, all right? Now it gives me a warning or an error warning here saying missing parentheses in call to print, okay? So even if I run this, it's going to show me syntax error, okay? So syntax is the set of rules that determines how our Python programming language must be written. So why is Python syntax easy? Because it's simple, readable, clean, and beginner friendly. So this is an example comparing Python programming and C language. So the same task, if you compare both of the two languages, you discover that the Python is a simpler way to write your coding. It's readable, clean, and beginner friendly. Okay. Now let's go to what Python statement is. A statement is a single instruction given to the computer. Okay, just one single instruction given to the computer is known as statement. Example, print hello, or assign this data 20 to this variable age. So each statement performs only one action. Another important thing to understand in Python syntax is Python keywords. So keywords are reserved words with special meaning, okay? So as you begin to learn more Python programming, you come across the various keywords. So these are reserved words in Python library that you cannot use as a name of a variable in the course of your coding, okay? So examples include if, else, while, for, true, false, none, return, break, continue, import, class, def. So as we go further, you will encounter all of these keywords. So you cannot use them as a variable name in Python. So example, it is incorrect to say we want to assign this string Python to a variable name called class. If you do that, it's going to give you an error, okay? So rather, the correct way to do is to use a variable name that is not part of the keyword. And if you notice this, keywords have unique colors compared to a normal variable. So let's practice that here. So do this. So I say class is equal to open string Python, right? Now, again, my IDE gives me a warning, an error message saying invalid syntax. Why? Because I'm using a keyword here. Okay, so this is a reserved word in Python. However, what I could do is to use a different variable name, say cost is equal to Python, right? So when you're creating variable names as such, you must make sure that they are not part of the keywords. So you can see this is okay, but in this case, it says it's wrong, all right? Now, let's go further. There's what they call Python indentation, okay? So one of Python's most important syntax rules is indentation, okay? Indentation means leaving space at the beginning of a line. Python uses indentation to determine which statements belong together. So here's an example. So between this beginning of the line of this code to this point is called the indentation, okay? So let's look at it practically. So I'm going to delete this and delete this as well. So let's say we create a variable named as age and we assign the data 18 to it, okay? So this simply means assign this value to this variable, okay? Then if I want to compare this, compare a particular age with what was saved in this variable, I could use the if statement. If age is greater or equal to 18, right? Now, this is the beginning of a block of statement. Rather than in other programming languages where you use curly brackets at the beginning of a block of statement, something like this, okay? In Python, you just use indentation, okay? So I'm going to delete this. So once you press enter, it brings you to this next line with the indentation. Another way to create indentation is to press your space bar 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? That also works, all right? So if age is greater or equal to 18, what do you want to do? Say print you are an adult, okay? So if I run this now, you see what happens, okay? All right, so it says you are an adult. Why? Because if it will compare this value 18 and what was saved in this variable. If they're the same, we said if it's greater or is equal to, it says you're an adult. What if I change this value to 20 or no, to 15? All right, so in this case, what is saved in our age is less than 18, right? So definitely this statement will not executed. Why? Because the condition is going to be false, right? So if I run this, okay, so you see nothing is displayed. Why? Because the condition is false. So anyway, what we're talking about is indentation. So this tells you that in this condition, the beginning of this block of code starts from here, all right? So take note of that. If I do this and I take off this indentation, okay, and I put it this way, because it's going to give me an error message saying expected an indent block after this. So take note of that. Next is, so in indentation, the best practice is use 4 spaces for each indentation level. Be consistent, do not mix tabs and spaces, okay? Most code editors automatically indent your code. So just like we saw, once you press enter after this condition, it will indent your code, all right? So most editors will do that, all right? Again, if you're using indentation, so you could create it with 4 spaces on your keyboard, or you could use tab, okay? So you could use tab. If I press the tab key on my keyboard, it takes it in, indents the code automatically. So again, not all IDEs, if you're using tab, make sure you use tab consistently. Don't mix space and tab. Otherwise, some IDEs may find it difficult to understand. So another thing we need to understand with Python is that Python is case sensitive, all right? Meaning, if I create a variable with a small case or letter, n, that is n, A-N-E is equal to this string John, and I create another variable and I use a capital N, okay? So Python sees these 2 variables as different variables, okay? Why? Because it is case sensitive, all right? So let's say we type in name. So let's say name is equal to, let's say John. All right. Then we have capital name is equal to Peter. All right. Okay. So if I want to print, if I print both of them, I say print, okay, name, right? And I also print capital name, okay. And I run this. So you see, it prints both of them, all right? Why? Because it sees them as different variables, okay? Why? Because of the change in the cases. This starts with capital N and this starts with a small n, okay? So take note of that. Now, let's say, for example, I don't have this, and I say print name. So let's say, for example, I want to print what was saved in this variable name, and I use a capital N here. You can see it just means unidentified name. It doesn't recognize this name, okay, until I change this to capital N. Then, of course, it recognizes it. Oh, sorry. Okay. Then if I run this now, it prints. Okay, so take note of that. Writing multiple statements, okay? So you can write multiple statements in Python. For example, name is equal to John, age. So these are all single statements, right? So we have 1, 2. It's called multiple statements when you have more than one statement. So again, you can have a very long statement splitted into across multiple lines. Let's say this is a single statement, right? So total is equal to this, all right? So I can, so this is what this, in a single line, this is what it represents, okay? So this is a single statement, okay? So if I want to break it into multiple lines, okay? A single statement into multiple lines, all right? So I can just do something like this. Okay. So Python will still recognize. So if I say print total, okay. So what this does is this, it adds all of these 400 plus 300 plus this and save the result in this variable. Then it prints out the results when we say print. So it gives us 1000, okay. Then let's come to comments. So comments are very, very important aspect of Python syntax. So comments improve code readability. Example of comment is the single line comment, which starts with the hash symbol. So again, later on in the course, we'll talk about comment. So if you want to create a comment in Python, you use the hash symbol, okay? Say, okay, this is a comment, right? Okay, so what happens is this, once the Python interpreter comes across this line, the first thing it checks, if it sees this hash symbol, then it skips this line. It will not execute whatever is there, okay? So that's an example of a comment. String codes, another thing with Python syntax is string codes, okay? So we want to print a name. So your names are usually, you want to display any information on your screen, they're usually in strings, okay? So let's say Python, okay? Now, it uses the double quotation for strings. You can also use the single quotation. It's Python accepts it, so Python. Okay, so if I run this, okay, it prints Python. So, however, you cannot mix a double quote and a single quote. It's going to give you error. Okay, so let's look at some common syntax errors. Okay, so example, print hello. So what's missing here? Your parentheses. So the correct way is put, you must include it in a parentheses. Missing colon. Okay, let's say we are checking a condition. If you miss out your colon, because it's going to be an error. So the correct way is put a colon after your if statement. Incorrect indentation. Okay, so let's say if true, of course, you're starting a new block of code. So you need to put your indentation. If you don't put that, it's going to give you error. So this is the right way to put it, okay? Another common mistake is if we misspell our keywords, okay? So you want to type if, however, you type IFF. So this is an error. And the good thing with some of the IDs, they are becoming more and more intelligent or smart. So they will point out those errors to you. All right, so there's this Python style guide, the PEP 8 style guide, which recommends use of 4 spaces for indentation, use meaningful variable names whenever you're creating your variables, keep lines under 79 to 88 characters where practical, okay? So your single statement shouldn't be too long, all right? Add blank lines between logical sections, write comments when necessary, use lowercase variable names with underscores. Example, snake underscore case. So let's say you're creating a database and you want to get different information. So student underscore name, total underscore score. Okay, so it's a way to make your variable more meaningful. Now, for your AI coding activity, so use an AI assistant with prompt, find the syntax errors in this Python code, and explain how to fix them. So go to any of your AI, maybe ChatGPT. Okay, so let's see. I open ChatGPT here. Okay, so I will give it this prompt and let's see what it gives to us. Just find the syntax errors in this Python code and explain how to fix them. Sure, paste the Python code here and how we identify each syntax error. So let's say, for example, print hello world. Okay. So I've given it this strong syntax. So let's see what it tells us. You see, there are two syntax issues here. One is missing closing double quote. Okay. So I started with a double quote, but I ended with a single quote. So you start the string with double quote, but end it with single quote. This quote must match. Okay. Python 3 print syntax. In Python 3, print is a function, so the string must be inside parentheses. Okay. So it says print. So this is correct Python 3 code is this. If you're using Python 2, then of course you can use this. So this is very good AI activity from this course. Now, there are some practical exercises for you to practice. Write a program that displays welcome to Python. My name is, so you can put whatever is your name there. I'm learning Python syntax. So try to do that. You have some lab exercises to do. It says correct the following code. Okay, so this is a code given to you, correct it. Now you have a mini project. Create a program named student_info.py that prints student name, department, institution, course, favorite programming language. Okay. So again, for that to happen, you need to create a new file. Okay. And you save the new file as student, Ctrl S, student_info.py. So you can create a folder on your desktop and save it somewhere. So for best practices, write one statement per line, use proper indentation, use meaningful variable names, follow the PEP 8 guidelines, test your code often, read error messages carefully, keep your code neat and consistent. Lesson summary. In this lesson, you learned why Python syntax is, what Python syntax is, why syntax is important, how to write Python statements, importance of indentation, Python naming rules and conventions, common syntax errors, basic PEP 8 slide recommendation, and how AI can help identify syntax issues while you verify the solutions. So this ends this section, and see you in the next section.